Ray Allen, two-time NBA champ, and got a new book, From the Outside, My Journey Through Life and the Game I Love, available now online and wherever books are sold. Ray, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, Dan, good morning to you as well. Thank you for having me as always.
20th anniversary of He Got Game, and Denzel Washington was on the show recently, and I asked him, this was, I think, a couple of months ago. This is what Denzel had to say about a sequel. We had Spike Lee on a year ago, and I said, sequel to He Got Game, and he said, if you're in, he's in.
Oh.
So
did he write something?
He said he would work on it, but he said he needed you to greenlight it, and then he would write something.
He used to have game.
Yes.
What would we call it?
Yeah.
I'd be coaching now.
Yes. And?
All right, started here. All right, I'm going to call him. I'm going to tell him you said so.
I can get Ray Allen. Ray's got time.
Ray's got time?
Yeah. So what do you think, Ray?
Well, I think I got to take the bull by the horns because, Spike and I have had this conversation over the last 2 or 3 years, and we've been saying the same thing, like we get Denzel on board, but it's easier to get a yes if you have that script that's in the process of being written and almost complete. So we got to just get the ball rolling.
Is there a script that's being written right now?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
But, Spike and I have toiled over ideas, talked about certain scenarios and things that we would certainly like to proceed forward and talking about. Because right now in sports, and not only sports, but in the world right now, there's so many good topics to discuss that kind of relate to sports. So, so much to talk about.
Did you have to audition for that role?
I did, and one of the I think misconceptions around the audition process, not only for me but for the other guys that auditioned, was that I was given the role or I was guaranteed the role before I auditioned for it. Spike, what he did was he wanted to know if he knew that all of us that he was asking to audition for the movie could hoop, because he was going to the basketball community, but he wanted to know who could act, if anybody. He didn't want to have this generic basketball film where he had to cut away and, show different, clips and edits just to make it look like the guy could play basketball. He's a basketball fan. He knew that he could tap into the basketball community. So when he asked me, he said, would you be willing to commit? And if you don't get the main role that you're reading for, there's always other roles that you possibly could get. So I was open. I was like, I never thought it would amount to what it amounted to. So I'm just thankful that I had the wherewithal as a 22-year-old kid to say yes and not worry about what I was doing at the moment.
Who else was up for that role?
AI was asked, Marbury was asked, KG was asked, Kobe was asked, Felipe Lopez was asked. And then, just, I don't know who else he asked, but I know between those guys, everybody that came in with me that year, we were all like put in position to audition and see if we would be interested in doing it. So, it was, anybody that was young at the time that could pull off an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah. You know what was interesting, too? There's a scene at the end when Denzel's character scores on you. Was it in the script that he's supposed to, like Denzel played a little bit of basketball, JV basketball in college at Fordham, but Ray, you're 22 at the time. I mean, you're a two-way player. You're great. Denzel really score on you?
Well, let me set it up for you, Dan.
Here we go.
We get too far ahead of ourselves.
Here we go.
I walk on the set and I'm reading the script. It's about, we shoot from darkness to light. So we're in Coney Island. It's on the boardwalk. People are hanging on the side of the court, looking out from the balcony in the projects. And the script had us, it's supposed to be 11-0. He doesn't stand a chance because he's trying to convince me to go to the Warden's alma mater. So when we start, I don't know how this scene is going to work, and I'm still new to the whole acting game as it was anyway. So when we start, Denzel has the ball, and I don't know if he's going to go at me or if he's going to just kind of lay down. But this man, we had a slight breeze. It was coming off the ocean, and he shot the ball like one of his shots, and I'm sitting there guarding him. And you're watching the scene, and the ball looks like it comes from the heavens. And then this backboard is a large steel backboard. It just hit like the corner of the backboard, and it goes in. And I was thinking to myself, okay, Spike, cut. That's not supposed to happen. And then he just takes on this persona. Like it's like he becomes this person that is really schooling me. And then the next shot he takes, and he makes it. And then everybody, I'm kind of looking out of the corner of my eye. I don't want to break, character. But I'm thinking, like, cut, Spike. You're not supposed to make any baskets. Like, what are you doing? But Spike just lets it go because he believes organically this is what's supposed to happen. But eventually, he wears down, and then I kick in, and then I start to develop my confidence, and I just take over. And the way the scene happened, it was so authentic, that, there's a segment where we cut before we start shooting more. And I went over to the sideline. My acting coach, she's looking at me. She's like, "What are you doing? I cannot believe that you let him score. You're supposed to be in the NBA." And she just like ridiculed me. And I had to tell her, I said, "Susan, basketball, sometimes it has a mind of its own. Like I can't control once the ball goes up what happens. He made the shot. I couldn't control it." And she just didn't understand it because she thought I was this high and mighty NBA player that he didn't stand a chance when it came to me in basketball because I didn't stand a chance when it came to him against acting. So it was perfect. And Denzel proved to me then that no matter what he can do or what he was doing or what role he was performing, he could become that person 100%. He did that.
That's pretty
in that
cool.
moment.
But do you think that he lobbied Spike to put that shot in?
No, I think that he, it's one thing to have what you want, from the script to, what you get on camera. I believe that because he watched the dailies every night and helped with editing, certain things. But I just believe that the scene was too good that once Spike saw what he had, there was no way that he was not going to put it in there. Because I think from the viewership perspective, you have to believe that I got it honest.
No, I thought it was authentic. Yeah, I thought it was honest.
This guy can hoop.
Yeah, a little bit there, and then you could just see where you're like, now I'm going to really school you. Now I'm going to dominate you after you make that shot. You could just see like your competitiveness kicked in that scene where you didn't have to act. I think you were just being Ray Allen.
Yeah, I mean, there was a part of me that I felt like slighted a little bit, like I had to really show who I was as a player, as an NBA player. Like, hold on now, I'm in my territory. I have to take over and prove that I'm actually the guy that was offered this role because I come from the NBA community, and I have to show these people what I'm made of.
He's Ray Allen. The new book is From the Outside, My Journey Through Life and the Game I Love, available online and wherever books are sold. There's so much to your career, Ray, where you're drafted, Timberwolves, traded to the Bucks for Steph Marbury. The Seattle situation, you got to play for the Supersonics in that great city. Everything that happened with the Celtics and the Big Three, and then the falling out. You go to Miami and win another title there. That's a hell of a journey there, Ray.
Yeah, a lot has happened, and it's so, I think, prophetic for me to be in this position now to sit back and say, I can write a book and I can sit back and reflect on everything and the ups and downs, the highs and the lows. I would say that, winning 2 championships, to be able to write a book, I could tell people, it's not about winning the championships. I didn't win those moments that I won where I hoisted a trophy or hit a shot, but winning was the journey. Winning was everything that I went through when I was on bad teams, and I didn't give up, and I continued to perfect my craft. And, even when I dealt with adverse situations with teammates or coaches, I had to figure it out. I had to find out, what do I need to do to improve? We used to always say when you get traded, if you're the problem and you don't know it, well, the next situation you move to, that problem still exists. So you have to figure out how to evolve, how to grow, how how to immerse yourself in a new situation, because as a young player, your journey is always continually being crafted, and your evolution as a player. So that's kind of my whole career. I just kind of learned so much along the way, and that's why I wanted to write a book, because it's important that people know that I didn't play in the NBA when I was 10 years old. I was still learning. I was learning how to get to where I wanted to go and be.
But when were you the problem, Ray?
Well, I mean, interestingly enough, I don't know. I know that when I left Miami, or when I left Boston, I started learning that I was the problem in the locker room. And I always thought that I was a good teammate. I always thought that I was good in every locker room that I was in, because I would do whatever it took to help the team win. What you find out is you just don't do it on other people's terms. You don't do it the way other people want you to do it. And, for the longest time, you hear other people's opinions.
Yeah.
And I know that people were upset with me and they're disappointed because I left. But when you're not valued and when you're not happy, that's when you have to decide to move on. And it's unfortunate, because that made me all of a sudden this villain, when you ultimately go to seek your own happiness. So I don't ever feel like I was a problem in any locker room I was in. I was doing everything I could to help win. But the problem, too, sometimes is I've always been a confident person, so you just do things how you need to do them. Like, I have a routine, and I've had a routine my whole career. And nobody could throw me off of it, because I knew what it took for me to be successful. So now, when you don't do things the way an individual wants you to do them, or a team wants you to do them, it's like, in order for me to exist, I have to kind of do the things that I need to do if you want me to help you win.
But do you think that you'll ever be on the same page with Rondo and KG and Paul Pierce? Do you think you'll ever have that moment where you can talk it out, and or is this unrepairable?
Dan, I've never had an issue, with any of those guys. Like, it was always brought to my attention that there was an issue. Paul and I have talked it out. We had a chance to sit down and mend fences. But the other two, it's their issues that they have with me. I don't have any issues with them. Like, once I moved on, it was like I was hoping that, hey, we move on. Let bygones be bygones. Like, it's basketball. Like, what are we doing here? We're playing a game, and you take things so personal. I always wanted to win on every level I've played in my life. And, there's certain things that happen. Like, when I lose a game or when I win a game, after the game, I'm not mad at the other team. Their job is to take away what I'm trying to give, and they're trying to get everything that I have. So that's about competition. The one thing that we have to teach our kids is you go to where the best exist. You find out what they do, when you learn from them to become better. But if they're not great somewhere else, like, we don't appreciate how great we can be, because they're the ones that take us to that level. So we should shake our opponent's hands. There's no need to be mad or angry. And so that's kind of where I sit. It's like, it's not personal ever.
But it feels like it is for Rondo and KG, especially Rondo.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, with Rondo, like, the guy, when we first got together, he was always a great kid, always looking for advice and asking questions. That's where we stood. He was like a little brother to us, and that's how it's always been. And it's never been anything more. So whatever they feel, whatever angst, whatever, like, hang-ups that they have against me, like, to me, it's not personal. I don't have any hatred towards them. Yeah. I'm in a place where I'm so happy with my life and people that are in it. But for them to hold any resentment or anxiety, you win a championship in 2008. Like, maybe that was all it was supposed to be for us. Yeah, we would have loved to have more, but what are you mad about? Like, what I don't understand.
They made it personal. Yeah, you're not making it personal. It's professional for you. If I gave you 100 threes right now, this afternoon, how many are you making?
If you gave me 100?
Yeah.
I would probably make 75, 80.
That's it?
Yeah, that's about it. I'll tell you that, though. I'll take those odds.
What happened to you, Ray? Man, I mean, no wonder you retired. You're only giving me 75 out of 100?
Yeah, old age.
Yeah. What's the
Old
most
age
you ever?
settled in.
What's the most you ever hit in a row? Like most threes in practice.
In practice, I mean, here's for every shooter out there, people come to me and say, "Man, I shoot 1,000 shots a day. You know, I'm working on my shot, and I want to be so consistent." I was like, "Well, you shoot 1,000 shots, I'll show you 1,000 bad shots." I would much rather somebody shoot a game, a fourth quarter playoff shot every time. And for me, I could give you 20 of those shots and make 20 in a row, and I could move on to the next segment of my routine. And that's pretty much all that I try to drill is that routine.
Well,
where
Steph Curry does that, Ray. Steph practices tough shots, and that's what I always tell people. It's very rare when you're going to get like a 15-foot jumper with nobody's hand in your face. So practice shots that are going to come up, in real time. So I think that's what you're saying.
If you watch some guys in the playoffs now, like you see guys are wide open, they miss wide open shots because what happens is you rest or you relax, and then you don't go into that routine, where you're used to catching the ball and going quick and then taking a shot, and you could figure out your timing and get it up and make that shot. But then when you settle down and you rest and you just take an easy shot, you miss because you don't jump the same.
Yeah.
And so, when you go to shoot, you have to find that rhythm that you do the same way every single time. And you have to do it with the assumption that somebody is going to run out to you and have an opportunity to block your shot. So I would rather kids practice that routine. And if you got 200 of those shots a day, I guarantee you had one hell of a workout in that particular moment, as opposed to just going in the gym and sitting there taking 300 or 400 standstill shots where you're really not, practicing for what might be a tough shot in the fourth quarter.
Well, you're preaching to the congregation here. I'm right there with you. Ray is two great shooters talking here, and I understand what you're saying there. Hey, good luck with the book. I'd love to check in with you, when the playoffs get a little deeper here and, tap into your expertise. But the book is From the Outside, My Journey Through Life and the Game I Love, available online and wherever books are sold. Ray, good to talk to you.
Dan, always good to talk to you. Let's catch up again.
All right, Ray Allen, 10-time NBA All-Star.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.